This episode of Limit Break Radio is made possible by our generous Patreon donors, including Ty Drago of Sargentanis, Varya Kimon of Behemoth, JDO of Excalibur. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio.
Unable to access content, please purchase $24.99 premium subscription service to continue.
Live from Eorzea.
Limit Break. With your hosts, Nero.
Now behold the horror you have wrought.
Kahlo.
I said don't take your clothes off.
Juxtaposition.
I don't get it.
Ascalia.
Holy shit, totally forgot about him.
And Mika.
Oh my god.
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio, episode 142. Feel kind of old at this point, guys.
Almost a 150.
I know.
Dang.
Where do the episodes go?
Right? Like, it feels like we just crossed 100, and now we're almost to 150. It's
I don't
crazy.
even remember episode 100.
It's kind of a blur.
I know, right? It's a little hazy.
I remember that episode.
Do you?
Must not have been a good one then.
Yeah, I don't remember.
All of you suck.
Anyway, so welcome to the show. Twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. LimitBreakRadio.com if you want to subscribe to the podcast. Catch us each and every single week. We're back to talk about Final Fantasy XIV. Although I'm
really?
I'm not
complain about it.
Not sure that there's much to talk about.
I mean, do we have to?
By the way, Limit Break Radio is a part of the Let's Be Real network, which you'll be able to find over at lbrnetwork.com.
Hey, quick question for you. When you made that community on Twitch, like you made that, like nobody else was using it, right?
Right.
Because when I used it the other day when I tried to stream, there was like 48 people using it.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
That's great. So if you are a streamer and you want to use the Let's Be Real community, feel free to. The only rules is that you gotta be real. Bring the realness.
No fakeness allowed.
I saw it coming, but
I know, right?
damn.
Anyway,
Nutter's gonna nut.
Let's kick it on over to our Eorzean studio. If you'd like to join us, feel free. We are on the Sargentanis server. The Goblet plot, what is it?
30.
Plot 30, fifth
Ward
ward.
5.
There you go. I never remember.
Goblet.
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah.
That's the Ulta one.
Could
Yeah.
you just one more time for me really quick say our server name?
Sargentanis.
Okay.
Sergeant Anus.
Sergeant Anal.
Little kind of out of nowhere and off topic, but there's actually a YouTube comment calling you out for your pronunciation. Yeah. It's from
Do you see the look on my face right now?
James Logan wants to know, did Aniro really go to college? Not 6 minutes into it, and he's already mispronounced 2 words, one of which he's never said right, which is pronounced Sargentanis, not
Actually, isn't it Sargentanis?
Sargentanis. And then mispronounced the word divisive or divisive.
Divisive.
Pretty sure it's divisive.
Divisive is also...
Well, apparently you're saying it wrong according to James Logan.
Well, James Logan, if you would like to join us on the Sagantinus server,
Holy shit.
Swagantanus, Sergeant Anus,
Sargentanis.
Sir Giant Anus,
Sergeant Tetanus.
Sergeant Tetanus. I like that one.
Saggy tittiness.
That's a good one.
Ooh.
Do you want to try, Nika?
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
She's like, I'm trying, guys. Don't pressure me.
I'm
not good at improv.
I'm pretty. But
zombie movie.
I'm pretty sure it's a hard G though. Sargatanis.
Nobody gives a shit.
Who?
Except for James Logan.
Logan Paul gives
fucking
a shit. I'm
cares?
trying to.
Logan Paul. Yes, thank you.
Jamez Logan really, really wants us to start pronouncing shit right, okay, guys?
Holy shit.
That guy who's had the new movie named after him. And then, fuck it. I don't have a joke.
Idiot.
Why would you waste the text to even put that comment up on YouTube? Never mind. I just answered my own it's on YouTube. It's YouTube. That's right.
Now you have gonorrhea.
And I feel like I do, too. So that's always good. Anyway, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate having you along. If you want to give the show a call, we are always up to take your calls. That's
literally anything.
That's Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. If you'd like to join us on Discord. By the way, that's now the Let's Be Real Discord.
Where you can only be real.
That's right.
Let's all be real.
No fakers.
I mean, there was a quick argument in the Let's Be Real channel about who was best girl, and I shut that conversation down fairly quickly.
Like anime shit? Did you ban who it was?
No. I just clarified that I am of course best girl.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
Nero is best girl.
I mean, we have the picture to prove it. So
scientific, documented proof.
Silenced that argument very quickly.
Good.
And monkeys might fly out of my butt.
Anyway, we invite you to join us, and actually, to stick around on the Discord community. We've got a whole bunch of different channels for discussing different stuff. Come join the Pokemon channel, so I have someone to talk to.
Besides Ryuichi.
Yes, please. No, we've got plenty of channels over there. If you want a specific channel that you think people might enjoy, go ahead and request it. But it's also how you can call into the show. Again, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord are your options. So we got stuff to talk about today, but here's the thing: if you guys want to call in and talk about stuff,
please,
it would help us out, because there's just nothing going on. We're in a big time holding pattern for 4.2, and it just does it seem like the wait is so much longer than in Heaven's Word?
Unbearable,
right?
Yep. Honestly, we almost decided to shit talk a video from fucking June. That's how starved we are.
What?
From June.
We might still shit talk a video
we might
from
still
June.
do it for you.
Great.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
But here's the thing, is that this directly relates to what we're going to be talking about today, because there's an article that's been floating around that claims that Stormblood is not just the best Final Fantasy XIV experience, but that it is actually the best Final Fantasy experience.
Full stop.
I don't get it.
What?
Right? So we're going to dissect that little article.
Have they not played Final Fantasy 13?
Actually, this guy says that he is a big fan of Final Fantasy 15, and Stormblood even surpasses that.
Take that, Nika.
15 has much more experiences within it than 14.
Nope, 14 does. They actually specifically say that the story in 14 is better at storytelling than 15 is.
15 storytelling is its weak fall. I will agree with that, but I don't know.
I don't want to get in this conversation again. Please, guys, don't trigger Nika.
No, it's going to happen.
Avoid the 15 trigger, please.
And
we don't need to get into it.
There are a lot of weak falls in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
There are, but its storytelling and pacing was its biggest, I would say.
And the characters.
Listen,
the combat.
I won't disagree, but here's the thing. Again, that's the supposition of the article, is that Stormblood is sort of like the pinnacle definitive Final Fantasy experience for the whole franchise.
Did he play? Has he been playing 14 since like?
We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it.
Has he played 14?
It seems yes. By the way the article's written, I believe he has played 14.
So we want to hear from you. We want to know whether or not you agree with this assessment. Of course, we're going to provide our Ronning commentary. I don't know.
What's a Ronning commentary?
A Ronning commentary. We're all going to turn into Ron from
Swanson.
Yes.
Ron Burgundy.
We're all going to turn into Ron Swanson. nuance, and we're all going to eat steaks, and we're all going to just very subtly shit talk this article. No, we're going to provide our running commentary on this, of course, but we invite you to jump in on the piling on. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Kookie's going to be hanging out, waiting to take your call. It turns out that we had something muted on the computer for Final Encountercast this week, so way to go, Juxta.
Wait, what?
That's your fault, because that's your computer. It's not my computer.
You should have prepped it. You should have made sure everything was kosher.
Yeah.
It's not my fault people mess with my computer when I'm gone.
I mean, yeah, but it's your responsibility to have it set and ready to go.
I didn't even know that was an option.
You sat out on my couch for like 45 minutes before that show started, didn't even look at the computer.
Juxta, if you go into work to start making pizzas and somebody fucks something up before you, and the pizzas that you make are like fucked up for some reason, and you deliver them, who gets in trouble?
I do.
Okay. Yeah.
Why?
Wait, no, he does.
No, somebody else probably should have, right? Because it's not your fault that you didn't check the settings.
Well, I checked the pizzas before I left the store. And they were right when I left the store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, were they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh.
Because if they're not, I send them back.
Well, okay. The analogy doesn't hold up because Kalo's a fucking moron.
No, it's because he's dumb. Make the pizzas.
No.
No, I don't make pizzas. Oh, my God.
You used to.
Oh, no. Drivers don't make pizzas.
Wow, you live in the easy life now.
Yeah, drivers are too dumb.
Well, I think that just answers our question then, doesn't it?
What'd you have to do to prove that you deserved that position?
Have a car?
Really?
I mean, that is kind of half of it.
In Flint, yeah, I guess you got a point.
Yeah.
Father of the year, y'all.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Driver of the year. I'm top driver.
Oh, good.
Sure you
wow.
Brag about this on the air.
Considering that he almost crashed us into a car on the way here because his car wouldn't stop on the road.
Hey, there was no car in front of us. My car just wouldn't stop.
Why wouldn't it stop?
There's ice on the ground.
Oh. Why were you trying to stop if there wasn't anything in front of you?
There's a stop sign.
No, there wasn't.
Yes, there was.
No, there wasn't.
Where are we talking about?
We're talking about just before the road you would turn down to go to Sunoco. There was a car in front of us that was turning. That's what you slowed down for and almost ran into it.
Oh, yeah, but they're out of the way. Trust me, we're fine. I'm a delivery driver. This is my job. I do this for a living. I'm a professional.
Living is a strong word.
I know how to drive.
Okay.
Is there air quotes on the drive? Because there should be.
I don't know. I'm not a fucking engineer, okay? I don't know how to make a car.
Anyway, so yeah, if you'd like to join us again in studio, that's Sergeant Anus.
Why is Kookie linking to Tales from the Pizza Guy?
Goblet and the Goblet, Fifth Ward, plot number 30. And then, patreon.com/Limit Break Radio is how this whole shebang is funded. If you'd like to give us a little bit of funding, we will say thank you. First of all, your name will get scrolled on the stream, so that's kind of cool. You'll also get a sound effect that'll interrupt the show. That's also cool. But you'll also be able to sleep satisfied knowing that you're helping us continue to make trouble for Square Enix and be honest about what's going on in this game. And you know that sometimes we masturbate with it. So
what?
What?
We?
What? No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say that, did I? I didn't. That didn't come out of my mouth, right? That stayed up in the brain case.
Nope, that came out of your mouth hole.
Shit.
I don't masturbate with that.
Anyway, no. If you want to help continue to support Limit Break Radio and make sure that we can do cool stuff like throw you parties out at FanFest and in fact go to FanFest, then patreon.com/Limit Break Radio is how that is done. And Kalo, the next postcard from Eorzea should be coming up here.
Yes,
pretty quickly,
I have been in contact with the artist. It's been delayed, but she said that she will have it to me on Tuesday. All right, so if you're listening to this podcast, it should be in the mail right now. And yeah, so that's going to be the Ascalia one. It is very dark, but also hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the next one for it'll be Valentine's Day themed will feature myself.
Oh, and of course he's gonna
Of course, Valentine's.
he's gonna be surrounded by girls and oh my
Look,
God, you fucking dick.
No, look, it's not. This card isn't going to be what anybody expects it to be. Okay, I promise.
Are you gonna have an action figure shoved up your ass?
There was actually a YouTube comment that was complaining about something you said on the show and said that we should get you another action figure to shut you up.
Well,
yeah.
It wouldn't shut me up, it would shut Skur up because he loves it down his throat.
Or he can just drink himself into a blackout again. That shuts him up too.
That's after the deep throating.
Because
usually the blackout happens before the deep throating does. Skrull got it all mixed up.
Oh.
See, if you
just wondering, is Juxta also the only drive?
The only driver.
Only drive? No,
Yeah.
there's two others.
How do you guys not proofread your donations?
You're spending good bits on that.
That blows my mind.
$10.
Just how many simple typos we get because it's spoken out loud every time we get one.
Actually, it's a lot easier than you'd think to make a typo in there.
Oh no, I'm sure that it is, but it's very confusing to me. Thank you for the support. Appreciate it. And again, if you want to support Limit Break Radio, it's patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. Thank you to everyone who's supported us for Extra Life. $7,595 is what we've raised for Extra Life for 2017. That is awesome. I am working on a large 2018 Extra Life effort.
Ooh. Oh, really?
I've had the first pitch of it go through.
That's right.
Phase 1 is complete.
It went well then?
It went okay. So the conversation is still continuing. It's not a no. Let's put it that way. It's not a no.
Good.
So we're gonna see if we can aim for. I don't even know. I honestly don't even know at this point. But it's going to be a much larger effort than just Limit Break Radio or the LBR Network, or Checkpoint even.
Shooting for the stars.
Yeah, this is gonna be a big one.
We're coming for you, Rooster Teeth.
That's the idea. You know what? Honestly, my goal is to just beat CBS. I just want to beat Giant Bomb. That's all I want to do.
What did they do this year? Do we know offhand?
They were definitely in the top 10. I remember they were in the top 10.
We did make it into the top 100, didn't we?
We did. We cracked the top 100 for sure. Not sure I don't know if we cracked top 90 though. I don't remember.
No. Nika, you're in charge of this.
Yeah, Nika, do you remember?
Yeah, I am checking right now.
Oh, okay, good. It's a good thing.
Of course, now it's telling me, the team doesn't exist because last year's Extra Life was over, so it's taking me an extra second to find it.
Anyway, so we're going to be putting together our 2018 Extra Life effort, and of course, that's going to be rolled into everything else that we're doing. So that's going to be fun, and it will. I think as long as it progresses the way that I have it sort of planned out. You're gonna if you were around for the very first Extra Life stream, may not be terribly dissimilar to that. If you were around,
it will be better.
If you were around for our very first Extra Life stream, all the way back in 2008,
dang,
might be kind of a little bit more like that. And a little less like the individual streaming that we've been doing in the last couple of years. So. Look forward to it.
I'm not sure if I can find the numbers, actually. Every time I go to look for it, it's like, this team doesn't exist anymore.
Fail.
Nika.
I can see our totals. I can see how much each person raised, but when I try to actually go to the pages with the ranks, and even the page with the ranks, it's not showing anymore. So,
boo.
Way to juxta that up.
Boo.
Yeah, you suck.
Anyway,
speaking of doing things wrong, I paid Skuro his annual salary last night of $4.50.
Oh, good.
And apparently I should not have done that because he fucked up our clips yesterday. So
we're gonna need that $4.50.
You mean for Checkpoint?
For Checkpoint, yeah. So I apologize on that. Skuro, you're gonna have to give that back.
You're also going to have to pay the processing fee.
Yeah.
It actually costs him money to be on the show. He's not even on the show. He's like mentioned every once in a while.
I am actually thinking about having him on Low Team Damage and introducing him as the junior analyst because his opinions are so bad. I just want to make fun of him.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's not bad. His opinions are the worst.
Yeah, they're so bad.
When I told him that, like when I pitched him that idea, like he legitimately like sounded kind of like disappointed and hurt. Like it's hard to do that now with Skuro, but like he kind of agreed with me, just kind of like nodded along, was like yep. But like it wasn't the same kind of like usual good fun joking. Like I think that I genuinely hurt his feelings. So that felt good.
Nice job.
Good.
Well done.
That job's bullshit, he says.
Anyway, so thank you to everyone who helped out with our Extra Life effort. That was a lot of fun. And again, I do apologize that I didn't get to do the MMO tour.
Well, if what you're planning comes to fruition, it'll more than make up for it, I think.
I think so. I think so. Anyway, let's check out what's going on in FF14 news.
This is a limit-breaking news update.
That's right.
For 14 news, you should have just had my opener again.
Which actually, kudos to you.
That was not bad.
That opener was actually 100% audio-manced by Juxta.
Last night at 12 o'clock even.
Yeah, so he's a level 2 audio-mancer now.
I'm impressed.
It was actually really hard to figure out how you move sound bites like further on down the track. So at the start, everything just played at the same time until I figured out which tool moves the sounds.
What do you what program are you using?
Just Audacity.
Audacity?
Audacity.
He should have been like MS Paint.
Audacity? Oh my god! And you guys get after me in the YouTube comments.
Actual like legitimate word that
it is
on a regular basis.
Yes. The audacity of his pronunciation.
That's amazing. But there is actually one tiny bit of news. A few more screenshots went up on the patch 4.2 website. This time we see a preview of the next tier of PvP Glamour, as well as the newest arena, the Crystal Tower Training Grounds.
All right, let's get this. I'm gonna get this up on screen in a second here.
Oh yeah.
Don't be shitty.
No, this is literal, but this is honestly, this is the only piece of goddamn news.
That's it. This is all right here.
I mean,
and look at it. Fucking look at it.
Let's take a look at some of. Let's take a look at some of this stuff here.
There's like almost some side boob going on, almost.
Oh wait, is there?
Wait, is there tits?
I didn't see the side.
Nah,
boob.
On the Lancer one, there's like almost some side.
All I saw was like the stupid ear things that makes me think of furries, so I was out.
No, I thought they're like Valkyrie things.
Yeah, those are Valkyries.
Are they?
Yeah. For sure.
It's feathers.
For sure. Yeah. I don't like any of this shit, though.
Yeah, I still don't like it.
Okay, but to be fair, at least it's not generic weeb garbage that we've been getting.
True.
Angry Gamer Aaron says, good luck making a 2-hour show with this.
True.
First of all, Angry Gamer Aaron, whatever the fuck your name is, don't test us.
Yeah.
Because we can turn this into a 2-hour fucking show.
Listen, we are like the Roger Corman of podcasting. We can pad this shit for fucking ever if we need to.
Just like Ascalia does to his bra when he goes out for ladies' night.
Yeah, don't make us go back and watch like a Daddy of Light episode or something.
How many episodes was in that, Nika?
We will hurt you.
Like something like 6 or 8.
All right, that's 18 episodes easy.
We'll fucking hurt you. Don't test us, okay? Anyway, I'm not impressed by this gear, like, at all. Of the gear that actually does look like I might use it, like, there's like the loincloth of the Rogadin in the center.
Pretty cool.
No. Everything is like it's so open and flowy and just like
I love flowy stuff.
You have the audacity to be so bad. Hashtag new Juxta.
Thank you, Sevo.
See, look, even the robot voice can say it right.
Yeah, right.
That's what I said.
No, you didn't.
Audacity.
No, you did not say that.
What was I can't even remember what he said now.
Audacity.
Anyway, so yeah, no, not a fan. Not a fan of any of this. Where do you guys think it's coming out of, though?
It's PvP.
Oh, it's PvP?
It's the next tier of PvP.
Fuck it, I wouldn't want it anyway.
Yeah.
Why do they make the PvP armor so shitty?
At least someone pointed out, actually it was Skuro, but he's like, at least it's not a retarded animal now.
Well, like, honestly, though...
Some of the animal ones are kind of cool.
Some of the animal ones weren't bad.
I actually like the dragon one.
At least it was real armor. This is goddamn nonsense. This is
based on like real
Roman
stuff,
and
Roman stuff.
At least like the
vaguely,
it reminds me of Mercy in the summer games.
The victory, Wings of Victory skin.
Yeah, that's why
I like the Lancer's outfit with that like half shirt and the like big poofy pants. I actually really like those. I would wear that one.
Why?
And there's like tattoos on the arm. I don't know. I think that whole look is kind of cool. I don't like the helmet, but the rest of it looks cool.
Not a fan of any of it.
That's the only one I like.
Yeah, it all looks too similar to me as well. One of the things that I feel like in MMOs that gear should do is when you look at it, you should immediately be able to recognize what job that is without having to look at like the weapons, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like all of this is very homogenized, like the look. Like, yes, it looks Roman, but none of the individual classes.
Some of it looks Greek, some of it looks like
Roman, some of it looks.
It's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Some of it, there's two
the
two
looks like he's ready to go to a toga party.
Some of it looks like
it's like the class that got a Roman Greek theme, and everyone just made their own thing with no real direction.
It says in this DualShockers article that you can even dye these. I can't even see using it as a replacement piece.
But I feel like some of it, but when you mix and match them, I feel like some of it could be cool with other things. Like you don't have to look at it as the whole.
I mean, yes, that's really the only redeeming feature from anything. But still, this is like a complaint we always have with gear: is that there's something missing from it that always sort of makes it unimaginative and uninspiring.
Yeah, and then we also got the Crystal Tower PvP.
That looks kind of cool.
Arena. That's all right.
It's a PvP arena. I mean,
in the end, it's still PvP and Square Enix. Why the fuck are you making PvP?
And why are we fighting on top of the Crystal Tower?
Because
we turned it into a PvP arena.
That doesn't sound like a good idea at all.
No, someone's like, well, no one's using this up here. Why don't we just kill each other?
Well, let's just use this monument that made God burn down or flood the world for however long.
Our own amusement.
Yeah, right. Sort of like, if you took like the Tower of Babylon and put a roller coaster on top, like, all right.
Or a roller rink.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good job, Square Enix. I mean, it's all right.
And it's for the feast.
It's reusing assets.
And it's literally the feast. So how much use is it actually going to get?
We get to see some of the dyed equipment right here.
Bleh.
Still not impressed.
Red team and blue team.
Yeah. A couple more screenshots that we got here, including we're getting new Beastman tribe quests.
That's right, the Vera.
The Vera?
Yeah. That's what the Lamia people are called. That's their tribe, the Vera.
Is it really?
VIRA, yep.
Oh. Okay.
Really?
Yep. So if you thought you were getting bunny girls, fuck you.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Vera.
Fair enough.
Confirmed bunny people are never coming.
I'm not terribly impressed by many of these screenshots, except for this
elephant. That's actually kind of cool. Look at the tusks on
the elephant mount. This is I think the one thing that has gotten the most attention out of these screenshots.
Wait, where is that one?
I can't wait for it to fly.
Yeah.
Well, of course it can fly. It has to fly.
How is Dumbo gonna fly?
With his ears.
The same way our stupid dogs and horses fly.
They just run.
Never seen a shoe fly.
Risey shoe puff.
Just let him wallow in that Kahlo joke.
I seen a horse fly. I want to make it Dumbo jokes, references. Come on, isn't that what we're doing?
Yeah. No, okay. I got it.
Making a shoe puff joke.
Yes, Nico, we got it.
I would rather have a shoe puff than an elephant like that.
And then we also got to see a bit of a preview of the Glamour Commodes, which apparently are not called Glamour Commodes anymore.
They're just Glamour Dressers, aren't they?
I don't know. Who cares?
Glamour Dresser? That sounds stupid.
Right?
Wow. It's called Glamour Cabinet would make more sense.
Not as stupid as Glamour Commode.
You know what? I would have preferred if it was a Glamour Komodo dragon, and you just had like a Komodo dragon in there that would help you change things magically.
Okay, Dragon Quest. What the fuck?
Is that a Dragon Quest thing?
No, I'm just saying, like, it seems like it would be something in Dragon Quest.
It does.
Because there's a dragon in it, and dragons are really cool. Can we play Dragon Quest now?
No, we can't. I mean, you can if you want to.
We can play it in Final Fantasy 14.
And then confirmation that basically these sea voyages are basically just fucking what do you call them? The retainer venture. Yeah, there you go. That's basically the same.
Return of Diadem 3.0, guys.
Not yet. Hold on. We gotta go through the stupid ventures first. And
is that not exactly what the fuck this is going to end up being?
Remember, we last episode.
Someone please tell me that I'm out of my mind.
There was a quote last time where Yoshi P said, "We're not sure what we're doing with Diadem yet. If we're gonna get rid of it or try and reuse it."
Then why are they putting these sea voyages in?
I think that was classic Yoshi P floating an idea, not one way or the other, so that we're prepared for it. Because they were to just say right now we're remaking Diadem, people would lose their shits. I think that they're hoping that Eureka goes over well, right? And then they're like, all right, guys.
It's not going to. It's not going to.
I know, but they
stay optimistic.
No, stop.
Friends.
It's not. It's going to be terrible. But Yoshi P doesn't believe that. Yoshi P thinks it's going to work. So I bet his plan is, after we introduce Eureka and people love it, then we tell them that we've taken the ideas and we've learned from Eureka and what we learned from Deep Dungeon and what worked with Diadem for Diadem 4.0 or 3.0, whatever the fuck we're on, and it's underwater. Booyah. And everyone at the Square Enix board is like eating it up.
They would have to add battle underwater for me to give any shits about that.
Wait, hang on. First of all, what the actual fuck are you talking about? Because Eureka is going to be Diadem.
I know.
No, it's not.
Yes,
no, it is.
It's 100%.
So what's
no
Diadem 4? I don't
know. That's a good question.
Eureka is Diadem, but you get to upgrade armor instead of just having it drop random.
Okay.
That's
all right, Alex Jones.
There's a subtle difference, okay?
And there's fates.
There was fates.
I'm just saying.
Diadem 2.0 had fates, didn't it?
Yeah.
This is going to be the same shit, though.
Everything needs fates. But underwater.
Except it's not actually
but
underwater.
There's no underwater combat, so it couldn't really. It'd have to be in a bubble underwater.
Yeah.
It's going to be exactly like that dungeon that was, quote, underwater.
Well,
not in the water.
Under the water.
Just in a bubble under the water.
I mean, just look at the screenshot where they're mapping out the route, okay? You've got several different what looks like islands. Those will probably be bubbled out like we already have in the Ruby Sea and stuff like that. And that it's going to be exactly like Diadem, except now you've got to swim from place to place. Oh boy.
Instead of fly, yeah.
Yeah.
They're just rehashing all the content from Heavensward, but taking longer to hash it out.
Well, and plus, since there's new players, they won't know that it's old content, so it'll be a hit with them.
Exactly, because all they care about is the new players.
Because new players don't talk to the old players who've already seen this shit.
That's why it's taking so long to get to the next content patch.
They need more old players to cycle out and newer ones to cycle in.
Yeah.
They need more old players to leave and stop complaining. So that way when the new players come in, nobody complains anymore.
Well, we're never going to stop complaining, Square Enix.
That's not probably true.
Oh, okay.
This is going to be fucking terrible. I mean, I
have hope.
Why?
Why? Oh, damn.
Because if I don't, who will?
Because she's Nika.
I'm having hope for all of you pessimistic
people. Call in and tell Nika why she shouldn't have hope, please. Like, seriously, whoever can crush Nika's hopes and dreams, I'll find something to give you.
But I mean, just look at it. It is the exact same system.
It really is.
It's the exact same system. It's the exact same airship exploration system.
Yeah,
we didn't even use the actual airship for anything.
And we know that that's the precursor to Diadem. And we know that this patch is the precursor patch to Eureka.
We got to go on voyages on our ships. That would be.
Nika, why do you think that would be a thing? Why would you ever think that would be a thing?
Optimism.
No, give me actual, real, tangible evidence.
Give me something Yoshi P has said. Okay,
I'm just saying it would be cool if Square Enix would stop reusing stuff and do more.
That would be cool, Nika. Yes, it would. It would be so cool.
The voyages initially, when they put them in, sounded really cool until we realized they were literally just ventures with a ship.
That's what this is going to be.
Exactly.
But with a submarine.
And I'm saying all they have to do is put us in the submarine and let us do like small scale challenging venture content with us like riding on our submarine ship.
But does this not do these screenshots not put a nail in the theory that, oh well, we might not be getting Diadem 3.0 or 4.0 or whatever the fuck it is?
I have no idea what the airship venture screen looked like, so I don't know if this is similar or not.
You're on the same article. Look at it.
No, I don't know. No, I mean the airship one. Like this is the underwater one. I don't know what the Sky Venture.
Okay.
Did it look like this?
It looks just like this.
It's the exact same thing.
The exact same thing.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. So, if this is the precursor content to Eureka, then I can only deduce that this is the new Diadem. That's what Eureka is. Shit. Is that it's the new Diadem. Am I crazy, or does this confirm it?
No. They're gonna have small like Palace of the Dead stuff worked in there, right, to try and mask the diademness. But yeah, no, it's gonna be shitty.
It's gonna be I mean, we're gonna look at it and we're gonna go, okay, so Eureka is the new Diadem.
Palace of the Dead.
Why? I don't even know that they're gonna enter. Like they're gonna use Palace of the Dead style stuff.
Well,
like
we have the upgradable armor and weapons. That's what they're taking from Palace of the Dead.
Recent interviews did say that they were actually working on the Palace of the Dead, right?
Sure.
I'm pretty sure.
No, he did. They said we're working on the next iteration of Palace of the Dead.
Yeah, the next Deep Dungeon.
They said that?
They did.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like one of the most recent interviews.
Okay.
They did.
So the upgradable equipment has an aspect of the Deep Dungeon thing, but it's basically going to be the next Diadem.
So the new way that they make our armor meaningful, guys, is that we're always upgrading it, but it can only be used in those areas, so it has meaning to those areas.
No, don't even do that.
It's supposed to be, they said it's supposed to be kind of like relic-y upgraded, so you could use it in raids and stuff. If they only made it used in those areas, I would die.
Well, but I mean, in the same way in Palace of the Dead, that as your items gain power, they're really only applicable to Palace of the Dead.
You have to remove them from the palace.
Yes, once you hit a certain point, you can take them out and they're fine, right? Like that's what I expect.
It's gonna be so bad.
And then we're just gonna, and then the question at that point becomes, well, why didn't you just say this from the fucking beginning?
Well, because remember,
because they want to string us old players along on the chance that we might get some new content.
Yoshi P said in that same interview that he can't give us any specifics or details because people might take them the wrong way.
Because it's Diadem.
Okay, but here's the shitty part is if they're just literally copying and pasting Diadem, submarine ventures, all this shit, why couldn't they have all this shit ready at launch? Because it's already done.
Thank you.
They must, because they needed time to put the upgradable part in it, and we know that takes at least a year of development.
Juxta, I think that's a perfectly valid question.
Like, okay,
why have they been holding this content back?
If you're gonna rehash it, but don't give us this fucking. I don't even know.
I mean, we're halfway through the expansion cycle at this point.
Weren't we supposed to get this in 4.1, but there were problems with
something?
What was that? There was something that
there was something that held it back. Yeah.
Was that Rival Wings or was that?
I mean, Rival Wings was as well, but maybe I'm thinking back to just Diadem 2.0. Even that was delayed for a patch or something. It's fucking all blurring together now. All the bullshit.
I really would love someone to call and tell me why this isn't the next Diadem and why I should be hyped for this anymore, because I honestly, we get people in the chat room every week that are like, oh, you guys are just belly aching about the game still, blah 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 blah, and then they flirt with calling in, or they get on the line for like 2 seconds and then they jump right back off. MRUA, I'm looking at you. And that's the thing, is that like, I would really like for someone to try to explain why they think that this is not just going to be a copy and paste of Diadem with maybe a little bit of the Deep Dungeon weapon upgrading thrown in there just to kind of mix it up a little bit.
Here's my plea to our callers. And actually, if you're a listener on the podcast, you can even email in. This is a serious question that I have now. And this will actually lead us into our topic as well. We mentioned at the beginning, we obviously, poked a little bit of fun at this idea that FF14 is the pinnacle or the best Final Fantasy experience, right? Here's the thing. We're obviously very negative with the game. We give it a lot of shit, rightly so, not rightly so, whatever you believe. The point is that here, we've been shitting on it for a while now. And it seems like our listeners, obviously, they've called in, they've emailed, they leave us comments, that they seem to agree with our sentiment, right? But outside of our little LBR ecosystem, I feel like I don't see that at all. Now, I understand not seeing it from Square Enix. They're always touting their horn. We have new subs, as many subs as we've ever had, huge subs, we have all the subs. Of course, they're going to say that. They need to put on a good product. They want people to think that what they're selling them is worth your time and investment. But even all the other external sources seem to treat this game like it's a shining pile of shit. I mean, it is shit, obviously. But I'm actually starting to wonder now. We say this all the time. Call us in, prove us wrong. Who disagrees, blah, 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 blah. But honestly, outside of troll bait or outside of trying to get you on here just so we can bash you, in all honesty, as we discuss this next article, which we're going to try and do unbiasedly, right? We're going to remove ourselves from the game that we've been playing forever now and just look at the claims that this article is making, all right? We're going to try to let go of the fact that we know it's a piece of shit and compare it to the other Final Fantasies, okay? So, with that said, again, please call in and try to help us figure out, is it just us? Are we actually missing something? Did something happen to us along the way to really skew our opinions? Fuck you. So hard. All right, so
show me on the doll where the MMO touched you.
Right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but seriously, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord if you'd like to call in, because we do want to hear from you. We really do. Because that's the thing, man. I'm really starting to struggle with why I still play this game.
And when I read this article too, because it didn't seem like it was shilling for Square Enix. It criticizes them as well. So this is the first time that I really started to seriously ask myself, like, is there something wrong with me?
I mean, maybe. I've started to think now that MMOs have moved into an area of development that I don't like a pattern of development that I don't like, and I mean, it's
apparently other people really do.
Yeah, and that's fine. I just, I think that it's not the aspect of gaming that I like. It doesn't play up the aspect of gaming that I like, and I understand why the motivation has changed for game developers. They've had to move from a willing body of participants that would pay a monthly subscription fee to now having to nickel and dime like every other game has. And so
especially
now
Square Enix's case to make up for a bunch of failure of other games.
Well, it's like now free-to-play MMOs suddenly aren't competing with other free-to-play MMOs and subscription MMOs and drawing a clear distinction. They're now having to compete with Overwatch loot boxes, and they're having to compete with every other.
I never thought about that.
So with what is considered traditionally single player properties, right? With that, with those types of games getting in on microtransactions, I think it takes people out of the potential pool that would fork over money for the game that they're playing. And subsequently, there's also this other thing of like, there was only a limited number of people that were going to be interested in MMOs and interested in continuing ongoing like years and years and years of play and investment. There's only a limited number of people that come along with that, and when WoW hit that 10 million subscriber mark, it was like a high watermark that the industry thought like everyone can get in on, and that's not the case.
It became the milestone that you reached for. Now
there was something special in the water of WoW that can never be duplicated ever again, and it showed the high watermark of people wanting to play online. I think that's what it proved more than anything, is that people's willingness to play online and people's willingness to play multiplayer outside of split screen in their bedroom, and that packet transfers were getting good enough to be able to facilitate that. I think that's what WoW really proved. It didn't prove that persistent online role-playing games were going to be able to sustain an audience of 10 million. That's clearly never going to happen. And MMOs, I think, subsequently have been put in a difficult position where they realize that they can't really make the subscriber thing sustainable.
Well, and if I think PUBG has told us anything, that's kind of like sort of the World of Warcraft of like this generation now. That's what people are going to be starting, I think, trying to emulate and aim for going forward.
Oh yeah, totally. Right. I mean, because I think after MMOs like had kind of bottomed out, you still had, MMOs are a long development cycle, so you still have some of the last I don't want to call it the last generation, but that big glut of MMOs. I think the last ones to come out in like North America were like Blade and Soul and
Black Desert.
Yeah, right,
those kind of ones.
And now it's going to be really interesting because I think there's going to be a bit of a lull for this generation of MMOs, and then I think the next one are going to be it's going to be a facilitation of technology, and it's going to be much more like your EverQuest Next, and
right.
You know what I mean? Like the world is going to be much more impacted by the player's action.
Yeah.
A little bit of influence from like Ark Survival Evolved and stuff like that. So I think that is going to be the next big jump for MMOs. But they're still kind of a limited. They are a genre unto themselves. I mean, not everyone is interested in an RPG, even. Like a lot of people play Skyrim. Sure. A lot of people have played FF7. Sure. But not that many people directly are tuned into like, what's the next RPG coming out, because I gotta consume it. Right, exactly. So I think that there are a couple of very limiting factors associated with producing an MMO anymore, and MMOs are in a tough spot. But I in terms of like delivering a better experience now, I don't think that they do. I think that there was, and maybe it's just the golden age of MMOs, but as you have audiences that continue to fracture and their alliances line up with whatever it is, whatever game they're playing, then that has a fracturing effect on communities and the ability for a new game to really amass a big enough audience to make it sustainable long term.
Well, what's really unique about what you just said right there is that they're having trouble finding a way to give you a better experience. That's a very subjective thing to say. When you're looking at, I think, veteran MMO players, when we look at something like Final Fantasy, what Final Fantasy 14 is doing right now, to us, that's not better. It's obviously a lot worse than what it's ever been before. But if they are apparently bringing in new people, what Square Enix's vision might be is, okay, we need to bring more people in because we're losing so many people. They don't so much care as creating a better experience for us, but the new people coming in who maybe don't know any better, they're going to think, hey, this is great, this is awesome, and with each patch that comes after it, they're not going to have any basis for what's better or worse.
Not yet, but give it a few more months, and then when they realize they're just getting the same content over and over, then they'll realize.
Yeah, because we hear from people all the time who call in and are like, I joined in 3.4, and I'm starting to see what you guys are talking about. At first, your show drove me nuts because, you're talking about all of this repeated content, and I couldn't figure out what you were talking about, and then I kept playing for 6 months, and now I'm
playing the repeated content.
Well, let's hope the Final Fantasy 14 bubble bursts sooner rather than later.
But to make something like that sustainable, though, you have to have a constant churn of incoming people, and I think that Square Enix has kind of bottomed out. I think 14 definitely has bottomed out on the number of people who haven't tried it yet that could try it and then end up
I don't know.
longer term.
I have a different pool of people on my Facebook than you guys probably do, and I see at least like once a week or every other week a friend or two will post, oh, who plays 14? Should I play this game? And like a lot of people usually say, like, if you're a new player, you're probably have fun for like a year or two, but then once you get through with everything, you're going to get really bored.
That's fair. That's a totally fair assessment.
Yeah.
All right. So this article, Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood won for the Final Fantasy veterans.
Oh,
it proclaims. Yes, this is the reason. This is the reason it caught my attention.
Veterans.
This is Final Fantasy veteran, not FF14 veteran.
I know what it's saying. I know what it's saying. What it's saying.
I sat down on Saturday and I actually Googled Final Fantasy XIV, looking for something to talk about, and this was right at the top. And when I saw for the veterans, I thought, what? Now, granted, when I first saw that first two, I was thinking that it's saying Final Fantasy XIV is for the 14 veteran, but no, it is talking about if you're a veteran Final Fantasy player, this is one for you. The little subline says that Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood gives me hope that Square Enix hasn't completely forgotten about what makes the series tick.
So this person clearly has a weeb boner.
Let's let that marinate for a moment. We've talked quite a bit.
Weeb boner.
The weeb boner, yes. We've talked quite a bit on this show, on Final Encountercast, even on Checkpoint Radio, about how Square Enix has lost, and Nick obviously doesn't agree, what makes Final Fantasy Final Fantasy. It started to go with FF 12, 13 was a disappointment, and for a lot of people, 15 just continued that trend, right?
Yeah.
So this person says that FF14 gives them hope that none of that's true. Square Enix knows exactly what they're doing. With Stormblood, Square Enix has delivered something that not only makes Final Fantasy XIV a contender for the best MMO out there, but also what is perhaps one of the greatest Final Fantasy experiences.
See, the thing is I may have said this about A Realm Reborn.
I agree too. But even a little bit through Heaven's Word.
Yeah, even parts of Heaven's Word.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if they're saying you play all the other FF games and then jump straight into Stormblood. Now, without having played the other.
Now that's the problem. They are specifically referring to Stormblood in this article. So again, as we're going through and we're maybe discussing this, and we're going to compare it to the other Final Fantasies, because it's basically positing that Final Fantasy 14 should be right up there with the best 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like all of those. Boom, they're all just as equal. Okay.
I would have said it about A Realm Reborn, especially after the Calamity, but Stormblood.
We are going to use specifically Stormblood's examples.
So
as we go through some of this,
quantifiably the worst villain in the series.
Was he even a villain? He was just looking for a good time.
Boring.
I think he had potential. He had potential, but I think because, like, look at Nidhogg. It took us 3 patches before we killed Nidhogg. I feel like Xenos, for how big and bad he was supposed to be, he was off way too fast.
Xenos wasn't even a bad guy. He was just looking for a challenge, guys.
And the thing is I think obviously I don't think we've seen the last of Xenos.
Really?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
If they bring him back, no,
of course
he's going to come back.
You know he's going to.
I thought Yotsuyu and Fidola were better villains than Xenos was.
I agree.
I agree with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Fedora was a pretty good villain.
Which makes me even sadder that they're going to both get redemption arcs in the next coming patches.
Yeah, well, because
they ruin all of their.
Well, because they've got to become our new
scions of light.
Yeah,
we do have 2 openings, don't we?
We sure do.
Damn it!
Well,
we
some
sure
openings
do.
are bigger than others.
Pippin and.
No, not Pippin.
No. Yeah,
look, I'm actually cool with bringing 2 ladies in place of the potato that we lost, but
yeah, well, that's not the worst idea. But the thing is that I mean, we've seen the redemption arc happen so many goddamn times. Ysayle. Granted, Ysayle
was a different.
Ysayle had a great arc, but it was still a redemption arc.
But she wasn't ever really a villain. She just had her own goal to help. She was also trying to stop the dragon.
You don't have to be evil
to redeem yourself.
Yeah, you can be misguided.
Exactly, misguided, failed. Remember, she thought that she failed the heretics, her side of the people. So it's more about redeeming herself in her own eyes, rather than in our eyes.
Exactly. Right, which I think her arc was done well.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. I even think that for as much as I made fun of it, and for as much as I thought Estinian should have died as well.
Yeah.
The Estinian Nidhogg arc was executed way better than any of the villain arcs that so far we've been given for Stormblood.
Yeah, that's
Also,
fair.
I feel like they're making a really bold claim with Stormblood, considering we're only at 4.2.
Oh, really, Nika? You think they're being bold now?
Oh,
Final Fantasy.
hang on. But
Okay.
the last thing that I want to mention is that, you know, again, the redemption arc already played out for Estinian. Right, like and I feel like it bottomed out then, right? Like
with what we saw in Stormblood,
and now, yeah, and well, no, what we got in Heavensward,
okay,
and the thing is like we're gonna do it 2 more times again. What's been my criticism of the narrative every time this fucking happens? What is this game, Dragon Ball Z? Like it literally fucking becomes Dragon Ball Z at that point, where we're turning our former enemies into allies. How fucking cliche is that
all these characters
after the
have plot
5th
armor.
time that you've done it?
Oh, wait till we get to Garlemald and have to team up with them.
Yes,
We've already teamed up with Garlands.
Thank you, Nika. Thank you. I mean,
but luckily they're dead now, so nobody knows.
Well, we're hanging out with Nero in fucking stupid space,
and we helped out Hydrus guy when we were doing the Warring
fucking
Triad.
Stupid.
It's all
It's Dragon Ball Z logic, and I fucking hate that shit.
The Warring Triad one was more of like it's just a benefit to team up with an enemy. We never really became friends. But the whole Nero bullshit is so
Wait, maybe in 5.0 we'll find out that Gaius had a son and we'll get to raise him.
I mean, listen, only if they give Nero a mustache is this okay, all right?
I can actually see him with a mustache.
Then he makes the full Vegeta transformation, and I'm all right with it.
Wait, they actually gave a mustache to Vegeta
in
at some
GT?
point?
Oh, fuck,
in GT.
yes, they did.
I can't even imagine.
Oh, it is so amazing,
it was a
too.
horrible mustache.
Oh, it was awesome. What are you talking
that's
about?
Like the same. That's like I found
It's
out
the best part
I
of that
found out
whole
the other
series.
day that they had originally wanted Picard in Star Trek to have a hair, to have a toupee. I saw
my
a
God,
picture.
fuck off.
I know there's a picture of it.
Really?
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
No, seriously, is Dragon Ball GT not everyone's favorite Dragon Ball?
I haven't
He
watched.
looks like a dirty Mexican.
He does, doesn't he?
Oh my God.
Like he's gonna go out and trim the hedges.
Okay, Trump position. Let's stick to the topic here.
As long as he sticks beyond the wall.
No, but I honestly,
they're repeating content in every possible way they can.
It's embarrassing at this
It really is. So, Nika, you asked that, it's a pretty bold claim. This article goes on to say that Final Fantasy XIV has often been called the true heir to the franchise's storied legacy, and Stormblood doubles down on that in every way imaginable.
Every way imaginable. I can imagine at least 5 ways right now.
I was going to say, I think they're sort of mixing up the idea of doubling down with literally just cutting everything in half.
Okay, well, remember, in Blackjack, when you double down, you already have 2 of the same card, and you just separate those cards, so they're just rehashing cards.
That was actually somewhat made sense.
Anyway,
a little bit.
It's because it has to do with card games.
I will agree that Stormblood's story has something going for it. Will I say that it is like the ultimate Final Fantasy experience? Absolutely not.
What does it have going for it?
I don't know. I think it has the single player trials and stuff going for it. Like, I think the experience of those, like fighting, was it Lakshmi?
Right, but those aren't stories. You're talking about like the actual mechanics.
Part of the main story.
Okay,
MSQ.
and the fact that you did them while you were doing the MSQ, yes, but you can still appreciate a story without actually doing the fight. Like, for example, if you went to YouTube to watch the cutscenes and not actually do the fights, you could still have an appreciation for the game and for the story, right? And we all agree that the actual mechanics and the fights throughout all of Stormblood have been some of the best in the game, but the story itself was
weak, totally weak.
Yeah,
especially. Go ahead, Nika.
Yeah, I'm actually really upset because, when we went out at FanFest and they announced the expansion, they were basically billing it as the monk expansion.
How about
they
that?
Kind of forgot about the monks. And my issue is that I really, how much I used to talk about how much I love the monk lore and all that bullshit. And like, if you actually do the monk storyline quests, you actually work with Vidergelt to reinstate the Fist of Ralgr, and he actually becomes a really big player in like rebuilding Alamigo. And yet when you go to do that whole Lakshmi thing and all the envoys are there, there's no Peter Gelt.
Nope.
And I feel like he should be there. And it's for some reason they're completely leaving him out, but yet Estinian gets all of this glory. Nobody gives a shit about Estinian. Like, why is
You
this
already got your expansion, you fucking cocksucker.
So
Get out
I
of
just
here.
don't understand why the hell, when they build this to be the Monk expansion and that the Monk NPC is actually doing stuff to help rebuild Alamigo, that they are leaving the monks out of the main storyline quest.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Where is the logic in this?
inconsistency in the world building. It just goes to support my theory that all of the different development teams are like completely insulated in whatever it is they're doing, whether it's building the story, making actual battle content or whatever it is. They're all like in different separate rooms. It's compartmentalized to like ridiculous degrees.
So like I'm sure
communicating through runners and gophers and stuff.
like I'm sure that the lore team was sitting there like looking at some of the cinematics for Stormblood and going, all right, but where are the monks? You know what I mean? Like,
well, anytime anyone brings up monks in like Q&As now, like it's at the point where they're not even asking a specific question. They're just going, monks. And Yoshi P's like, yep.
We got them. We got them monks.
I just,
not in the story though.
I am interested to hear more of this line of logic, because I don't see how, especially in a narrative capacity, how someone could say that Stormblood can even hold a candle to a Realm Reborn.
And that's actually where a lot of it points to specifically is narrative. This next part, Nika, make sure you listen up because it talks a little bit about 15. So they say, for the fans of the series who were disappointed with Final Fantasy 15's fractured and disappointing narrative and storytelling, which was us three for sure, and Nika, you some of those criticisms,
the story, but not the storytelling.
You get right. And for those who miss fantasy, medieval, and stories this series used to tell, Stormblood is an absolute treat. And it's not just a treat because it does what old school Final Fantasy games used to do, but because it does it incredibly well.
Which part of it, though? I mean, honestly, as much as I do enjoy parts of Stormblood's story, I can't even imagine what part of it is more emotionally gripping than 15's story.
Well, they mentioned that that this feels more like a true mainline Final Fantasy sequel than FF15 ever did. And this is from someone who adores Final Fantasy 15. And I think what they're saying is that the main reason that this holds true to Final Fantasy is kind of because of our return to like the medieval, but I wouldn't really call Fire and stuff medieval.
No, that's like,
I mean, what? Because Doma's there?
Yeah, I mean,
what in Stormblood was like, the whole callback thing? There was Doma. Is that it?
To previous Final Fantasies?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there was some other ones, but I can't. I mean, obviously, Rabanasty,
guys.
Rabanasty, callback to 12.
Right.
Omega to 5.
Yeah.
Okay, Omega, there's another good one. Okay, so basically you have Omega and Doma. And that's supposed to give like a true lineage to the Final Fantasies, especially considering the way they bastardized the Omega story.
I don't get it. The only thing that I can think is that, we don't have like futuristic weapons or like, I don't even know.
They go on to mention that what helps is that the voice acting of the game is top notch, especially when it comes to the more major characters.
It's okay.
It's not bad, but I wouldn't say it's top notch either.
This is one of the more stronger points I think they have is that it usually does have some pretty good voice acting.
Sure.
The story has a singular focus on telling a dour and compelling narrative, and that is something that bleeds into its writing and voice acting as well. Okay.
Where everybody has plot armor and we forget about
when was the last time we had any type of meaningful danger?
I think maybe when I thought the Sultana was dead. When we thought,
or even when we thought the Scions could end up dead.
Yeah,
that was it.
Right.
And here's the problem: after that, when
we thought Shinryu was actually Ralgar,
when nobody.
It would have made more sense for it to be Ralgar.
It would. You know what? It would have. It would have. But no, random ass dragon.
Yeah.
Did anyone think that Paplimo was gonna die?
Yeah, kind of.
You thought he was gonna die? Because
was it a surprise when it happened? No, because I think that they had enough hints in the story that he was about to.
Yeah, I think I thought that he would survive.
But I'm saying, are you surprised that he didn't get the Sultana treatment and come back to life?
No.
Because honestly, I feel like except for Yaseo and Moonbrita, I feel like every other person that's like almost died doesn't die.
Well, because I feel like the way that they
hearts and farts as well.
The way that they set it up with Papliomo, I could have saw it going either. They put themselves into a corner because they killed him. Okay. Nobody cared because they did set it up like he was going to die. But had they brought him back, nobody would have cared because we'd have been like, that's what they fucking do.
I think there's certain characters that have semi-red shirt status, right? Like
that are expendable.
Papliomo was one of them.
Moon Burrito was totally like that. She came in just to help. She had like all the solutions to all the problems. They're like, well, she's got to die.
The minute she was introduced in the story, I was like, red shirt, there it is. I think that there are a couple other characters that probably have red shirt status right now. God, who?
Yeah, all the people that died in Stormbolt, like the guy who was leading the thing that Lise took over, who's leading the rebellion.
Well, okay.
Those guys aren't even characters.
Anybody underneath Lise right now? The Monongo?
Well, I'm talking.
Monago.
Yeah, Monago. Yeah, she's a minor character. Yeah,
Varenheld, the guy with the white stuff on his face.
Yeah, the scar.
Ardenveld.
We've apparently known him for a really long time. I think both of those characters are actually very good guesses, right? But I think even one above him in the major cast of characters, I think Yda's got plot armor.
Yes, she does.
So does Y'shtola.
Y'shtola's definitely. Well, I don't know. You know what?
No.
Wait, hang on. No. They've been
2 reasons.
Okay. Go ahead.
One being the fact that like she should have died when her shield broke in Stormblood and didn't. That's her plot armor.
Okay.
Secondly, is she is the face of 14 right now with her being in Dissidia and shit. They are not going to kill her.
You know what?
She's like the poster child for 14.
Yeah, you're right.
She's immune.
On that count, you're absolutely right. I think Thancred's definitely got plot armor.
Yes, they should kill him off because he's been misused.
I just think he should have died back in the original story when he was possessed by La Habrea. I feel like that whole thing should have been to kill La Habrea. Thancred's like, kill me too, and we're like, we hate this, but we have to do it. Bam. And no, that
not to mention they could have also killed him when he started getting all super reckless when we were trying to save Minfilia. He could have died there, and that would have been perfectly fine too.
Oh yeah, Sultana's clearly got plot armor. I mean, any chance that they've toyed with killing someone and then taken it away, that to me indicates 100% plot armor.
Yeah,
Estinian's got plot armor.
The fact that Estinian is back and like doing shit behind the scenes, he's not dying.
Because if they tried to kill off anybody who nearly died now, it's not going to matter. I think like it will have no impact.
I think Hien might be the only one that I can think of, the only one of the major characters that I can think of right now that might get axed.
They would have to introduce someone who could take his spot as ruler, though. Is there somebody who could do that?
Yugiri.
I mean, Gosetsu could have, but he died.
Oh,
yeah. See, Gosetsu's another one. I actually felt that his death was impactful, and then I actually really had grown to like Gosetsu as a character. I thought he was funny and he was strong, and like then when he sacrifices himself and comes back, like the whole entire thing was just ruined for me. I don't know why they do this.
I think clearly now Gosetsu and Yotsuyu both have plot armor.
If they wanted to keep Yotsuyu alive, I say keep Gosetsu dead and let Yotsuyu like crawl out of the water and like want more revenge, and don't give her a redemption arc.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
Yeah,
that'd
have been fine.
I think Yotsuyu, because what you're getting at, Nika, is that Yotsuyu would have been our vessel for Schadenfreude. That we would have seen all of the terrible things. It would have been like watching karma play out, right? Like we would have seen all of the terrible consequences that all of her terrible actions for so long have wrought on her. But now she just gets to clean the slate and go eat fucking.
She's got amnesia, and she's like, I'm a cutesy little cute.
Yeah.
Oh God damn! I just want to.
Although that could be.
It could be a play, but
or it could just even backfire. Like not necessarily a play, but at some point, all those memories could come flooding back into her and be such a shock that she does go like super evil,
or like just insane, crazy.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's go to our phone lines and talk to Dejem of Goblin. What's going on, Dejem?
Well, not a whole lot, guys and gal. What's happening with the LBR crew?
Not much. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So you guys are getting into that article. I have not read it, but I was listening to the front end there and the kind of the throwback aspect of 14 calling back to the classical sense of Final Fantasy.
Uh-huh.
And I think that he kind of nailed it in that regard, not necessarily in regards to Stormblood, but like I picked up the game when it launched on PlayStation 3 still playing just because it's accessible. And that was initially one of the reasons why I stayed engaged, is because it felt significantly more Final Fantasy than any of the other iterations, probably disregarding 12. And I never touched 11.
Well, and
but,
I think
10 onward.
Yeah, and I think we all agree with that too. As we said, back with The Realm Reborn, they definitely had a very, very old school Final Fantasy feel to it. I remember one of my favorite quotes that made me so hopeful. Like, if I had to pick out a singular thing that Yoshi P has ever said, it was back when he was doing, the big tour of interviews for, saving Final Fantasy 14. He said that he wants to return Final Fantasy 14 to the dark roots that FF is known for. You guys remember that? Yeah, the dark roots where nobody ever dies and everyone gets redemption.
Yeah, I don't think
that's one of my beefs is if you're going to kill somebody or pretend to kill somebody, just leave them dead.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of argument out of us here. When the Sultana thing happened, Sultana. When the Sultana thing happened, it was just like such a. I think it was such a kick in the balls because it really felt like a betrayal of that promise that FF14 was going to go back to the dark roots of Final Fantasy.
Honestly, that was probably the turning point, I think. Like, when I look back on it, even though we had some fun in Heavensward, I think that not killing the Sultana was the turning point.
I kind of agree with that. Yeah. I think that, that was one of the worst decisions that they ever made because, again, here we are, an expansion and a half later, and if they were going to make that into some kind of compelling secondary plot point, it should have happened by now. They clearly have no plan. They fucked that up bad.
If the Sultana had been removed, what would have changed in everything we've seen so far?
And honestly,
nothing other than Ramon maybe having a little bit more motivation.
Very little.
Were there enough did people really complain about the Sultana dying?
I don't think they did.
I don't think there were. I mean, I know that she was a popular character, and I know that people were sad about it, but
you should have been.
But I don't think that there were people flooding the forums going, "Well, I think that this was a really bad idea, and this is why.
Literally unplayable.
I cannot figure out why the fuck they brought her back.
Yeah, it's honestly a lost opportunity on their part. It would have been a compelling story, but then they just whitewashed the whole thing, cleaned it up. It was like, oh, she's not dead. It's all a giant fake out.
Man, we're all just going to forgive each other.
Understands the word impact at all.
They understand the impact on our wallets.
I mean, the fact
of a narrative value.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that Square Enix hasn't been able to deliver a really emotionally impactful narrative that flowed very well since Final Fantasy X. Let's be honest, because FF11, while it was good, I don't think it was necessarily narratively that satisfying or head and shoulders above FF10. 12 definitely was not. 13 was a pile of garbage. FF15, we'll fight about that later. But I think that...
Yeah, I'll let you know when I beat that.
Yeah. But that's the thing, though, is that I think since Final Fantasy X, Square Enix has been really good at making a long narrative so long that somewhere in the middle they step on their dick enough to turn half the audience that bought it off. What was the statistic of how many people?
Such a great analogy.
What was the statistic of the amount of people that finished Final Fantasy 15 that bought it?
It was less than half, wasn't it?
I thought it was
30.
I thought it was like 30% or under.
Yeah,
something like that.
And I got to the basically the transition where you're then locked into the main story arc where you go across the sea or some jib jab like that. That's about where I checked out.
I feel like that's where I stopped too.
And that's the thing, is that it's not that the arc of the story is bad. It's that in the middle, it's bad enough that I stop caring enough to keep wanting to play.
That is the worst.
And I feel like FF, specifically Stormblood repeats this. I mean, A Realm Reborn didn't. I mean, I think it lost some direction in some of the Point X patches, but it never really lost its appeal.
It was all of those weird quests where like you kind of went away from the MSQ for a minute to do this weird stuff off on the side to give you extra XP.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that was basically just padding to get you from one patch to the next and keep you engaged.
And luckily,
and at the end, I think they realized what kind of mistake they made.
And made another
you
one.
have more patch quests than you did in the actual main story.
Yeah. So they took those out, but now the MSQ was the boring part.
Well, yeah, because
honestly, the original A Realm Reborn MSQ wasn't that engaging. Like it doesn't really start to get decently good until after you fight Titan. And like that's a whole
I don't know.
I felt
making the stew, like honestly.
Okay,
like,
but the Ifrit battle, like when the first time you fight Ifrit, I mean that's only like
that was pretty good.
Oh yeah, no,
level 20 or 30. Yeah, like I felt like that was the first time playing this game where I felt like, oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was engaged.
That's also like the first primal you see, so it's the first big baddie.
Right. Yeah, and it does make you feel like you're playing something really epic at that level. It's just, I think they got there too early, right? Like you're taking down Ifrit for the first time midway through the MSQ, and then it makes you feel like, okay, well, if I can take down the God of Fire, then why am I bothering to make dumb fuck stew?
There's also, you can see early on, even I think
it's a test, Nero.
Some of it's a test. Even early on, specifically in Ifrit, there's even still some devices they use there that were already making me roll our eyes. Like you defeat Ifrit, and then Thancred shows up. Oh, I just missed it, didn't I? Darn, I wasn't here for you. I failed you and let you die. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, just have him there fighting with us.
Right. I mean, it is easy enough to do.
At that point, he's already aware of the Echo, too, so he knows that he really can't do anything.
So give them the Echo, then. Like, look, Ehrenwald has a little bit of the Echo.
Yeah.
So you can actually give them enough to, like, not be turned into thralls, but also not be as useful as what the Warrior of Light is. And don't say they have the technology they did in FF11. And with multiple characters.
And I mean, again, I'm just saying, like if you go to that well too early, it's like, again, we've really kind of, I think, stripped it down to its very essential. It's a big boss in a fucking circle room. And all of the impressive qualities of it are lost. And I think, because again, especially if you're doing that so early on in your character's progression, and now you're like, I level 100 and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like nothing. It feels meaningless.
Even if you strip away
it's pretty arbitrary.
Yeah, even if you strip that away, though, even if we're talking just about Stormblood as an entity and not looking back to A Realm Reborn or Heaven's Word, it's still so weak. The next thing that they mention here, which I think this next point is really the big one that bothered me the most. The cutscenes in Stormblood are absolutely beautiful. Final Fantasy has always been known for having some of the flashiest, most well-directed cutscenes in the industry. That's just as true with this expansion pack as it has ever been, if not even more so.
I don't know about that.
I have never been more disappointed by cutscenes than in this expansion.
I mean, they are still pretty, but I do feel like they could have done more with certain parts of it.
Again, especially if you're comparing them up to, the epicness and the majesty of something like Binding Coil of Bahamut, which really, every time I went into a new area, I was like, oh, Jesus, this is fucking epic. And I felt it. And they've never been able to hit that high watermark ever.
And the thing that to me is like the biggest cardinal sin of MMOs specifically, but cutscenes in general, is cutscenes with no music. And in a game when you have someone like Soken that is working as much as he is and making the kind of music that he does, there is no excuse in the entire fucking book that you could give me on why there isn't some kind of fucking music in the background.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's sort of like when you
it's purposefully without music for impact, but
how often does that happen?
That's not the case.
This was when Ian was giving his victory speech to his 12 subjects, and there's fucking nothing going on.
Yep.
I have never been taken out of a cutscene so much, and that should have been the pinnacle well, quote unquote, it was the pinnacle of our achievements over there in Authored.
and it was diluted down into some fucking hobo talking to a bunch of drunk guys who just,
dude, he does
just watched me take the castle.
He does look like a hobo, doesn't he?
He's a super hobo.
Anyway,
all samurai do.
Dejem, thank you so much for the call. We appreciate it. Do you have any shout outs before we let you go?
No, actually, I don't. But, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, thanks.
Thank
and
you.
we understand that you also listen to Checkpoint Radio on KLSP. Thank you very much for checking out the show. And thanks for calling Limit Break Radio. If you want to give the show a call, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord to give us a call. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you actually agree with the author of this article saying that Stormblood is a definitive Final Fantasy experience. I wouldn't even call it a definitive Final Fantasy experience. It's a Final Fantasy experience.
Because it has the name on it.
I mean, it's got chocobos and moogles and bullshit. And then
it
there's
definitely
crystals.
feels like a Final Fantasy game. Like, I'm not going to deny that. But like
more than
the
15
pinnacle of what an FF should be, I don't know.
Yeah.
The story being told here is one that works on several levels as a sweeping and epic tale about a massive war and as a collection of personal, more intimate stories about several characters. Who wants to take this one apart?
I don't think it works on either one of those levels, to be honest with you.
It has those, but it didn't do it right.
No.
Those elements are present in the blender.
Present, but they didn't do it right.
On paper, yes. There should have been a massive war. You realize the only battle in Authored that we actually really fought was against our allies to make them our allies? That was like the big battle of Authored.
Kind of right, actually. Holy shit.
But
yeah,
massive sweeping battle, everybody. Honestly, on paper, like again, you.
The whole thing was come help take back Alamigo. Like when you look at the Facebook advertising, it's like join the rebellion, fight back today, and you're right, it doesn't feel like that.
No, God, no, it doesn't feel like that at all. At all. Not only
that's
that,
all that the Facebook advertising was going through at the beginning. It was like, come join this, fight back, take back, join the fight. And like, okay, let's go play some games with some people. And
dude, not just that. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that Wings of the Goddess felt like a way bigger conflict than
for sure
anything in Stormblood at all.
I don't even remember the conflict from Wings of the Goddess.
Campaign?
Oh, just campaign? Yeah.
I mean, just campaign in general.
Well, because there were actual battles.
You're consistently fighting against people taking over your territories.
Not just that, but you'd be going across. Dude, you would be going across the map, and you would see a swarm of fucking Quadavs or
Yagudos.
Yeah, and they would be on the way to take over the position, and it was just like it made you feel like, oh shit,
there's urgency
because they could kill you too.
There's something that I said early on. I think it was the episode where we first started talking about the story here, where I actually applauded when you came back from Authored to Alamigo and sort of finished up the arc there. That actually felt a little bit more like a war, which I think it did because there were actual quote-unquote battles. But looking back on it now, I guess I have to apologize to Juxta because he was the one that's like, no, that was all shit too. I think just in comparison to Authored, when all we were like, oh, look, let's go over here and beat these guys at their own tournament so that we can make them be our soldiers.
Steal them as slaves.
Yeah, pretty much. Like compared to that, oh yeah, the Alamigo stuff was great because again, actual battles happened, even though the cutscenes were brief and it was mostly people just being like, oh no, the battle's starting now, fade to black, look at all these bodies.
Fucking dungeons. I feel like if we could have had the take back Alamigo where we're storming the castle along the lines of the fucking what's the stupid thing in the Azim Step, whatever that was called, like where you're
the Nodum?
The Nodum. If you take the Nodum and you take those mechanics, but instead it's all of our allies that we've recruited rushing the castle and fighting against the enemies and pushing forward, that would have been amazing. But no, we get a dungeon.
Yeah.
Congrats.
But isn't that exactly what the fuck I said?
And we don't even battle with our friends. We always split up at the beginning for some reason.
But isn't that exactly what the fuck I was saying? Like, when you make it into a dungeon that you cynically run every single week, or have the possibility of 1 in 3 running it every single week, that it takes the narrative punch out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's,
like,
I think that's...
cool as the Doma Castle
Nika, I think you're right. Like, if that was a one...
Whoa, holy,
still,
what?
sucks.
She's right on this one.
Yeah,
if this was if this was something that you did once ever as your character, that it would be far more impactful.
Yeah, like I think the Doma Castle dungeon I think was probably the most aesthetically cool and mechanically fun dungeon out of all of them, but it again takes away from the impact of it because it doesn't really feel like we are, our allies are coming together to go and like fight it. Like it was cool in Alamiga, you can like see your allies fighting behind the gates. Like I made it a mission at first to like find where each person was, but like why can't what would have been so much cooler is that once you got to your ally, you help them kill what they're fighting and then they join you and follow you the rest of the dungeon. Didn't they
do that in one of the duties for Heaven's Ward? Oh no, it was the other way where we all started out together, and as we fought through the chapel or whatever, they like would stop to like fight other things, then end up with us fighting just at the end.
Oh yeah, there was like
just it wasn't a dungeon, it was a duty just before.
It was like patch like 3.1 or something like that. It was really early.
Yeah, really early on. But yeah, that was really cool. And we always talk about how awesome it is when they actually let you fight alongside your allies. And again, FF11 actually did that quite a bit. And we actually
it did. And you had to make sure they didn't die. Like we only got that once with Estinian when we fought Nidhogg.
Yeah,
and that was also in a dungeon.
And we get it with duties again. Remember when you're fighting next to Yugiri when you're in that village the second time I think that Xenos fights you?
Yeah.
So like they give it to us in just these duties, like these one times a lot, and they're great. But then when it comes to dungeons, like the most recent one, we went to the drowned city of Scala. Hey, old sport, let's make a contest of it and see who can get to the treasure first that no one's ever found.
All right, bye.
Oh, you beat us. Okay.
Good job.
Cool.
Like, make it actually possible for us to lose, and then we have to do it again. Like, make it a challenge.
Or no, just if you do it under a certain amount of time, you just get a different cutscene. They
that'd
won.
be cool. I mean, that's at least something enough to change it up.
I want to talk a little bit about the characters now, because this isn't just about the massive sweeping war, but this is a great collection of personal, more intimate stories about characters. Was there any character in Stormblood, again, we're not going to use anything before Stormblood, but was there any character arc or moment in Stormblood that impacted you on a level anywhere near something from any of the Final Fantasies?
When Fordola blew up her own people.
That impacted you. Why?
Because I felt like I thought that meant she would never get a redemption arc, and that it was actually a turning point for her character, that she was actually like had that was the moment where I thought she could go the redemption way or the not.
Okay.
And that she blew up her own people, I figured that meant she was now off the deep end and she was a legitimate villain, and I thought that was pretty impactful. However, we're seeing that
you're wrong.
I actually have a specific question for you then, because I'm not sure if it impacted you because like the moment itself was emotional, or just because you thought, holy shit, Square Enix is about to take a chance and do something cool.
A little bit of both.
Because the only time that I felt even a small hint of it was when Gosetsu surrenders himself to help save the villagers, whatever that Yatsuyu was just slaughtering, and we get like that torture sort of scene.
Yeah, I like that too. That was good.
I thought that was a good start. I thought they could have went a lot further with it, that they could have done a lot more with it, and honestly, obviously he didn't, but had she actually killed Gosetsu there as well, for me that would have cemented her as a true villain. And to see where they are now, oh my gosh!
I'm so pissed off that either of them are alive.
Every Final Fantasy, like,
well, not only that they're still alive, but that they're like a goofy side arc now.
That they're probably going to get together and fall in love.
It's going to be like a buddy cop or some shit.
No, yeah, they're going to fall in love.
What, Nika, you don't see that coming?
By the end of this expansion, she's going to be pregnant or even have a baby.
Yeah, they're an item now.
What?
They are 100% an item.
Yep, that's happening. Maybe Hildebrand will be in there, or they'll be in Hildebrand's little story arc, because it's super goofy and fun. What's wrong, Juxta?
Just don't even mention Hildebrand. He's dead to me.
He's not, though. He's gonna be coming back.
Nah,
we got a preview. He'll be in this next
preview.
Patch,
was horrendous.
Right?
It was nothing.
Are we?
Yeah, they
have we gotten Hildebrand since 2.0?
So. I hope Eureka just has Hildebrand in it too. They just put everything into Eureka. Eureka's everything from now on. Log into Eureka, guys. But no, whenever I look at any Final Fantasy, like every Final Fantasy that I've played, there is a singular moment that stands out among everything else where like I really felt something, right? I don't have that for any of Stormblood.
I don't have it for Stormblood, and I don't have it for a large degree of Heavensward.
Ysael.
Ysael was it.
Oh, actually,
Ysael was
not Ysael's death. It was when we first meet Raish Vel Gur, and he's like, "You're not Lady
Like,
Shiva.
you're not Shiva."
And she's like,
Fuck you.
What?
Basically 3.0.
Yeah, is where it stopped.
After 3.0.
I think 3.0 episode was the last optimistic episode we had.
May have been because there was some legit good plot that was to be had in 3.0, and then
Remember the Warriors of Darkness? How they were just kind of
I do remember them because they were just kind of like tacked on as
they
like
had so much potential to be
afterthought.
super cool.
It was so
like,
weird.
Villains or anti-heroes.
The Urianger betrayal.
They were tacked on, but they were like tacked on at the end of like every like patch, so they were like prolonging the tacking on part.
No, you know what the Warriors of Darkness were? The Warriors of Darkness was an episode of Burn Notice, where at the beginning they're like, all right, this is the main story, let's go do something completely unrelated. And then at the end, okay, we solved that problem to move the main story on just a tiny little bit.
Yeah.
At least so far, nothing like that is popping up in Stormblood. But the thing is that we're literally just at 4.2. Like, for this person to claim that Stormblood is going to be doing is this greatest storytelling masterpiece, I'm like, do you really have any idea where this is going?
Yeah,
anything like Heaven's Ward, we haven't even started going downhill yet, guys.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing is that even the 4.0 couldn't even bring me back, right? Like that whole 4.0 story, I was bored. I was bored out of my fucking mind.
I feel like it should have taken us almost this entire expansion to liberate Alamigo. Like maybe 4.4. And then we spend the last patch figuring out how to like build it back
and
up.
there should have been deaths. Like real deaths.
Like
in
a real war.
You lose
In war, people die.
Yeah.
At this point,
that we are the only casualty of the entire Alamigo thing.
Just their leader
is just the old guy.
Okay,
that's it.
All right. We lost someone at the very, very start too. Some other wrinkly guy that was a resistance fighter.
We did.
Yeah, we lost some guy.
We lost the Skuro.
Oh,
he was a villain though.
I loved him.
But I mean, also technically that first raid when we were that was pretty impactful at first too. When you're like not there and Xenos is raiding the entire village and you go back and like people are supposed to have died there. You still didn't for some
except
aspect.
wait. Except they gave away the fucking big plot point in that scene where we had seen that in the fucking trailer. Xenos coming in and breaking the shield of Y'shtola.
And they immediately undercut all of it, where when we have complete control, look, we're all laying on the ground dead. He could have finished off the resistance, right? He's just like, all right, let's go home now, guys.
We did our part.
And then we moved back in to the exact same location.
Yeah.
Yes. If they wanted to solidify him as this big bad villain they were trying to build him up to be, they could have done so much more. And I can go back and just point out particular iterations. Like if he had killed someone here, if he had like destroyed this there, he would have been a much more hated villain.
Even if they would have lined up all the survivors, right? Fine. All right, you want Y'shtola to live? Fine. Line up all the survivors, and we see him behead everyone, and then someone comes in and saves us and Y'shtola at the end. Fine. But no, he's literally just like, all right, guys, I'm gonna take my ball and go home now. You stop being a bad resistance. You behave now.
I love because remember I dragged my feet on completing Stormblood, and of course people got at me about it in the chat, and they're like, when we were complaining about this plot point, they were like, oh, just wait till you finish it. It makes sense. It never made sense. You fucking assholes! You lied to me. That never made sense, and it was never a good plot point.
They mean when you finish Stormblood at 4.5, it's gonna make sense why Xenos didn't kill us that day in Rutgers.
No, he was just grooming you to be a better fighter and a better.
We're gonna find out that he's actually our father.
So Star Wars then.
Star Wars.
That was so ridiculous. I didn't even have words for that.
So Square Enix is going to rip off Star Wars twice.
Which is why we're going to get the space station. Skuro was right. Hashtag Skuro was right.
But I do think that if Xenos had flat out
a Garlean space station.
Or Kryl should have died for giving her Echo to Borzola.
Kryl should have died.
I forgot about that. That they gave Kryl plot armor.
If either of those characters had died, it would have been like, oh, Xenos is really up to some horrible shit. Even though that was like his scientist doing that shit.
And now we've taken over that experimentation space, and it's like that should feel like like you're walking
dangerous.
Yeah, like you're walking into like Nazi experimentation camps, right? But instead, it's just like No, this is the place where Kryl didn't die.
We killed that scientist as a second boss in a dungeon.
He was probably the most.
Not his own boss fight.
He was the most, for me, the most interesting thing that they could have built on.
Yes.
And like it. We kill Xenos, fine, he's gone. So if it would have turned out that that guy was some type of like puppeteer behind the scenes, dude, I'd have been so into that. That would have been really cool.
But he wasn't even the final boss. He was the mid boss.
Do you remember his name?
Why wasn't it Hojo?
Anybody?
Why wasn't it Hojo? Why wasn't it Hojo?
I mean, it could have easily been Hojo as a callback to, and nobody would have.
He reminded me of Baxter Stockman.
So many
I literally just did Doma Castle earlier today, and I still don't remember. No, it wasn't Doma Castle. It was
wherever it was.
Was he at Alamigo? He was.
Yeah, Alamigo.
Yeah, like I did it like a couple days ago, and I still don't remember. I do it all the time.
The story does go on to point out a few, flaws in the game. Talks about that from a design perspective, Stormblood is a little more inconsistent. Really. Also calls out the underwater sections.
Hang on.
What?
The design is inconsistent?
Game design.
Oh, game design.
It's bogged down by some issues, most of which are familiar to MMOs. A lot of grinding to be done, story missions that are level gated, and the side quest design is, as they say, quite frankly, unimaginative and boring.
Yeah, no, the side quests are fucking stupid.
But it says what you'd expect from MMO, but if you're trying to tell us though that this is the pinnacle of the Final Fantasy experience,
story-wise, in the narrative.
It's not even the best, dude. It's not even the best Final Fantasy in this game. Like I said, A Realm Reborn was better. Hell, I think 1.0 was a little bit more compelling than Stormblood.
Based on some of the cutscenes I've seen?
Narrative-wise, yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because at least I didn't have a fucking clue of what was going on. Stormblood, I feel like I've been able to call every beat of this story 3 beats before it happens.
But you haven't finished it, so you don't know for sure.
I do know for sure because I've seen it all before. Oh. If Square Enix would take a chance and do something that would surprise me, I'll be the first one to sit here and sing its praises and poop my pants on air.
Did you see Minfilia becoming God and leaving us? Did you predict that?
Did she become God?
She's basically God in physical form. So she's Altana's physical representation so that she can speak with people.
Yeah, so Hydaelyn just hijacked her body. Minfilia's fucking dead.
Did I say Altana? I totally did, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Minfilia's dead. She just brain jacked her.
Rocking.
Yeah. I don't.
He didn't become God.
I was a little bit surprised by the Minfilia thing, but that's also still a Heavensward plot point.
Yeah,
and it still made 0 sense.
No, it did make it made 0 sense, and I do think that we'll probably see Minfilia come back.
Well, I hope so, but the thing is that entire plot thing was actually kind of interesting. The fact that the Warriors of Darkness have proved to us that there are multiple worlds living alongside each other, and that some of them are in peril, and we should try to work to keep the light and dark balance within the universe. But how are we going to get back to that? Like, that is a really cool plot point that exists, and now we're doing Alamigo and we're probably going to go to Garlemald. We're not going to pay any attention.
That's nowhere even on our radar anymore.
No way we would get back to that.
Does it matter? All they have to do is be like, oh, hey, we're back. And
we need your help from space.
Traditional Square Enix fashion.
No, I mean, because she's now got Deus Ex Hydaelyn, she can come back anytime. She could come back tomorrow because, fucking, I don't know, Thancred was having trouble wiping his ass and needed help. Like, that's the thing about Deus Ex Machina plot points is that you don't need a reason for any of that shit to happen.
Yeah. Hey, Estinian destroyed the eyes of Nidhogg, and it created a space vacuum time vortex that blew open a cyclone hole in the aether.
I mean, the fact that
we would just go with it.
The fact that we've said multiple times that Hearts and Farts could probably come back as a summon. You know what I mean? Like the pathways.
I'm so mad.
I know. That was another missed opportunity. But the pathways for those kinds of plot points to play out exist. And even though sometimes we're wrong about them, the fact is that we're right often enough, or that we can sense where the thing is going often enough to where it becomes predictable and boring.
We're right whenever Square Enix does something. Whenever Square Enix
predict it. Sorry. The way to predict it is you take the cool thing, like him coming back as Ixion and it being sad, and they just know that that's not what they're going to do.
That's probably pretty true.
You can do the opposite of that.
Right. Is there more to the...
No. Overall, I mean, that's pretty much it. He also says that underwater stuff was kind of disappointing.
I will say, because I spent a weekend over the holiday collecting all my Aether currents because I hadn't done any of that.
Wow, really?
Top 10 anime betrayal.
I know, right? And
how did you ever do your hunts to cap your tomes?
However, would I have done that? And I do have to say that the map design is still probably some of the best that I've ever seen in an MMO.
Yes.
I wish I saw half the map, but I didn't do the side quests, so I never saw it.
Also, something that I will give them, specifically,
except for the sea, the whatever the
Ruby Sea,
the Ruby Sea,
yeah, the one
that one just felt needlessly large.
Yes, well, because they needed water area.
Yeah, and pointless. Like, and all, because all of the anytime I'm swimming, I'm like, it's fucking. All of this is pointless. Nothing can happen to me. It's basically like flying. Flying is completely pointless. You
like
just use it as a way to get from point A to point B. Yep. There's nothing that can happen while you're flying. You're given plot armor while you're flying.
It's plot magic.
I mean,
speed plot armor. That's why it's important.
Also, just the fact that there are no like evil monsters in the sky or in the sea feels very like not realistic and immersive.
Yeah, wouldn't you think that you would actually be, that there's more danger? Yeah,
sharks and shit.
Yeah, now you got things that can come up underneath you and shit.
I mean, there's enough flying monsters in the game, but they only fly 1 foot off the ground instead of in the sky.
What? I don't know.
Like, no, there's so many monsters that you actually fight, like in the Sea of Clouds. Like, there's those like bird monsters that are actually flying, but they're only flying like a foot off the ground.
Right.
They should be like in the air attacking you.
But no, that would be too much work. And
that would be hard to code, and we have to maintain
we'd actually have
the
to
balance.
We'd actually do work.
The balance would be hard to maintain. Balance.
Our servers can't take it. Maybe when we upgrade to PS5.
But I mean, like, honestly, looking at everything that Stormblood has done in a narrative sense up to now, like, I don't see it. I don't even think that Stormblood is the strongest out of the FF14 expansions.
No, in fact,
I think it's probably, even if you want to include FF11 expansions storyline, it's probably not even that.
I would even say that like the old like BC day, Burning Crusade days of World of Warcraft was more compelling than Stormblood was.
I mean, because the point of MMO
back when they didn't even have cutscenes.
I mean, if you take like the point of MMO content as a way to move you from one place to another or to expose you to new parts of the world or whatever, if you take and you strip all of that out and you look at it just as a single player narrative, that it doesn't even hold a candle to some of the shittiest entries in the Final Fantasy series.
In fact, you know what it reminds me of, thinking about it now? The way that you progress through this narrative is like having a tour through a museum where you're being led along and you're like, all right, stop. I'm going to explain what's going on here now. All right, follow me to the next exhibit. This is what's happening. And you see it all coming.
Right.
Because you also have a program in your hands.
I mean, because I think that FF14, specifically Stormblood, I've had 10-2 described to me, and it sounded more interesting than what I've played in Stormblood.
Honestly, yeah.
So would you call Stormblood disasterific?
Is that supposed to be a...
That's a 10-2 reference.
Oh, is it?
Great.
Yeah, like I said, I've had it described at me.
Can I have a little backup here, Nika? I know you.
I don't actually remember that as being a thing from 10-2, but
that's like one of the first 10 words that Riku ever says.
Disasterific.
Disasterific.
Okay.
Okay. I mean,
I'm glad that you have more knowledge of 10-2 than I do.
Yeah.
Because I 100%ed it.
What?
I used a strategy guide.
You wasted that much time?
It didn't take long.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Plot in 10-2, better or worse than Stormblood?
Oh, better.
Really?
You can't even describe the plot, though.
Even at the end, when Yuna's randomly in the water and Tidus like pops up out of nowhere and they're reunited.
That is not what happens, but okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what happens.
Okay. Now we'll find out what really happened. Nika, what happened?
She comes from her ship. She's not randomly in the water. She literally, like, the cutscene is her coming down the thing, like the ramp on her ship and jumping into the water.
But why that water? Because she somehow knows, oh, he's back or something.
Yeah, it's Besaid. What do you mean, why that water? It's fucking Besaid.
Like, did he send her a message saying, I'm back, here I come, meet me here?
The Faith did.
Randomly, thank you.
Deus Ex Faith.
He's back, Yuna, go get him. He's in Besaid.
Her link pearl go off and she suddenly knew.
I mean, where else would he be?
I mean, every other plane of existence possible.
The far plane?
Yeah.
Because he's dead?
Dissidia land.
Damn it. Yeah, he's in Dissidia.
He is?
You know, if they actually use that as a plot point, like he actually was real, but he vanished because he had to go to Dissidia, and now he's back.
Wasn't there?
I'd buy that.
Wasn't that a story a while ago that like there was something that canonized something about Tidus in Dissidia? I don't.
It was
What was that?
It was something in fucking like World of Final Fantasy or something.
Oh, that's it. Yes.
And it had nothing to do with Dissidia. It was they literally were telling you what Tidus was doing when he was supposed to. Be dead.
Nope. Brave Exvius. That's what it was.
Brave Exvius. That's it.
So what was he doing?
Yeah,
I don't know because because apparently it ruins.
He was he was jerking off a lot.
Because apparently it like actually ruins the emotional. I mean,
of course,
impact
it
of all of it.
does.
So I
Square
refuse.
Enix.
I refuse to look it up. Because 10 is my favorite Final Fantasy, so I refuse to ruin it for myself.
Even though you've played 10-2?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, 10-2 was, I mean, yeah.
It's now my mission. I'm going to go find out what that is, and I'm just going to blurt it out randomly during the show.
Good job. Good job, Kahlo. I like it. All right, we got a couple of minutes left. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord if you want to call in. Like I said, not a lot of time left, but if you want to get one final call in, we'll take one more call before we wrap up today's show. But yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. Stormblood has, I'm not going to call Stormblood an unmitigated disaster because I don't think it's that bad.
No, just uninspired.
It's uninspired. It's derivative. It's sort of like oh, we got nothing else. Like, let's just bring back Rabadasty and boss fights from past Final Fantasy games, and it's to the point where like I'm expecting the Sephiroth fight, right? Like I don't ever want to see that fight, by the way, ever in this game. I have no desire to see Sephiroth appear at all in FF14. And the thing is that I kind of know that that's sort of what we're building to.
I mean, we got X-Death. I mean, he is so like a random one. It's definitely going to build up. We're going to get Kefka. We're going to get Sephiroth.
God, dude, if they do Kefka, I'm going to be really pissed.
But here's the thing.
Because they're going to fuck Kefka up.
I get the whole theme park mentality, right? But I feel like you can do what you're doing with the whole theme park thing and also still be creative, give us surprises.
That's why I liked Crystal Tower. I felt like Crystal Tower was enough of a throwback to FF3 with the villains and the name and the build of it, but it was still enough FF14 that you believed it.
With the Allegan stuff, and you're like, yes, and absolutely, absolutely, yes. I totally agree with that.
Omega's literally like, hey, I like this story. It's called Final Fantasy V, so why don't you guys fight it?
Yeah, and because they're relying so much on that even though, the fights may have been well designed and look flashy and be a good callback.
Yeah, the mechanics of it were not bad.
I know. Well, like when they come out with the Sephiroth fight, doing it's probably going to be really fun. It's going to look great, and you're going to think, oh, that's a great callback to FF7. But that's all they're relying on is just that.
Yeah, they could do so much more with, like, I feel like instead of Sephiroth using Jenova in a way that ties into 14, and I think they could have used more like the Promised Land and something and actually tie it into 14's lore rather than just being the live stream rather than just being like, hey, here's Sephiroth, fight him. Like, there's so much more they could do if they want to have callbacks to those games.
No, I agree. And the thing is that the onus should have been put on them to do that, to try harder. And I think, the audience for FF14 just jizz their pants every time, even a passing mention from a final, like Kryl, how much we argued about Kryl and shit like that, like we spazzed out enough about those little references that they were like, yeah, we don't even have to try to weave these in cleverly anymore. We can just dump references and old assets in, and people are just going to eat it up. And I don't think that they should, and I don't think that they will. I don't think if they are eating it up, I don't think that they're going to continue to eat it up for long. I mean, FF14 has so many opportunities to be an interesting MMO and to be a great Final Fantasy game that I do feel like it's wasted opportunity. It's wasted opportunity.
Final Fantasy 14, a wasted opportunity. That's a great way to put it.
To just, kind of lazily reconstruct assets from old games and then not even give a valid reason. Like, what is Alpha going to end up being? Really? Like
the final boss?
Fuck off.
Yeah,
probably.
The final boss.
You're probably right. Well, but at the same time, like, does anyone give a shit?
And we'll also get an Alpha minion as a result. Penguin Mint says, I checked out the Omega story the moment Alpha popped up.
I agree with that. Because it is referential without a point, and the fucking Schrodinger's cat reference from the last set of raids just proves that this is just not going to go anywhere. It's not going to be good. Whatever it is, it's not going to be good.
Terrible. Luckily, next week we'll have the live letter to talk about, which means actual Eureka stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Is it? Are you sure?
This is 4.2 part 2. That means that they're going to talk. They have to. They have to talk about Eureka.
We've been saying they have to talk about Eureka for the last 4 live letters.
But you don't understand. They actually don't have anything else in 4.2 that's coming out except Eureka. They have to.
Right? No, so they're going to start talking about things that they might add in 4.4. Right?
Eureka. Even if what they say is that Eureka is delayed till 4.3, they have to talk about Eureka.
They got to say something about it. So
yeah.
Please.
I hope you're right.
Tune in next week because I don't know. One of two things is going to happen. Either we're going to be pleasantly surprised or the funeral dirge is going to continue.
The funeral dirge.
Balls in your court, Square Enix. It's all up to you now.
Balls in your mouth, too.
That's what they sound like with balls in their mouth.
Needs more slobber. Perfect.
Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for Limit Break Radio for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay tuned if you're listening live on twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. Checkpoint Radios. This week's Checkpoint Radio is coming up next. We're going to have the full episode live for you here on the stream. So if you don't get to hear it live in your city, then make sure you catch it here on twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. It's coming up next. If you're listening on the podcast and you want to join us on Sundays when we do the show live, if you want to be one of our live callers, if you want to catch Checkpoint Radio, or if you want to be a part of Final Encountercast or what will become the Let's Be Real podcast, then make sure to join us starting at 1 p.m. here at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. That's when we get this shindig started, and it goes all throughout the day until we finish up editing Final Encountercast. Usually after Checkpoint Radio wraps up, I'll hop on the stream for a little while and edit Final Encountercast with you guys. So if that sounds like fun, stick around. That's coming up here on the Twitch stream. And if that sounds like fun, if you're listening on the podcast, join us on Sundays, twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. I want to thank all of our callers today. It was fun to talk to you. Dejum of Goblin, it was awesome to hear from you. But if you want to become a caller, of course, make sure that you add us on Skype, Limit Break Radio, and join our Discord server. That's limitbreakradio.com/Discord. We're in there chatting all the time. Feel free to join and chat along with us. That's going to do it for Limit Break Radio this week. I want to thank my crew, Nika Kayanian, Juxtaposition, and Colin Landis. I'm Nero. Keep listening. Limit Break Radio is a production of LimitBreakRadio.com and Bender Media Productions. This episode was produced by Colin Landis, Juxtaposition, and Kooky Persona. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. Funding for Limit Break Radio is provided by Miri Kennett, Nexian Theta, Hirsch Fersch, and fellow Limit Break Radio listeners. To support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. Opening music from this episode from Daniel Lambie. Listen to Man with the Machine Gun and other great tracks at facebook.com/Daniel Lambie Metal Gamer. Closing music in this episode provided by Husky by the Geek. Listen to this and other great Final Fantasy XIV and video game rock covers and original music at facebook.com/Husky by the Geek. In-game graphics for Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream are provided by Diamond Multimedia. Check out their line of AMD graphics cards and other hardware at diamondmm.com. Limit Break Radio and its hosts are solely responsible for its content.